Hello, this is Defining Quality, and we're talking about quality as a performance objective. So in this lecture I'll be talking about defining quality, the different views on quality, and some general definitions. The aims are introducing the various views of quality, setting out some general definitions for products and for services, and describing the dimensions that make up quality. So by the end of this session, you should be able to describe the various views of quality, give an appropriate definition and explanation of what quality is for both manufacturing and service, and describe different dimensions that make up quality. So an expanded definition, quality is an important function in all areas of an organisation. It's much more than the technical requirements of manufactured goods. And service quality is equally important. It's customer relationships, but it's also many other things, so we'll try and cover all those. Customer loyalty is increasingly based on quality. Defining quality from the customer's perspective is enormously important and actually quite difficult. We need to shift, or we have shifted, from producer markets to consumer markets as markets have become more globalized. We've seen a shift in the balance of power towards consumers. Now this is particularly because we've got global markets, we've got e-commerce, which means you may buy something from China, but you're going to post a review of it online. And many hundreds of reviews appear very quickly, so the customers are very well informed. You no longer have that information asymmetry. So managers really need to recognize that, the world of quality has moved along. So on the flip side of that, there's been constant increases in the level of quality in today's goods and services. That does make it more difficult for you as a potential manager in managing service quality. So you've got to avoid the costs of poor quality products and services. If your products are poor quality, it's not just the direct costs, there's also all that damage that's going to be done to reputation. And you've also got to try and achieve higher levels of productivity. That's the benefit of creating higher quality products, delivering better customer services, achieving shorter delivery times, and reducing labour and material costs. We'll get on to that. So advances in technology are changing the way in which both manufacturing and service operations are designed. Now, technology is a tool, it's not an end in itself. And you've got to maintain compatibility between the technology and the organization's other elements, particularly the people, making sure they're continuously trained for use in the technology so they know how to work the systems that you're implementing. So we've got a stat here, 90% of CEOs saw quality as critical. I'd suggest that's probably 100% nowadays. The four main reasons why quality was considered important were, well, it's the primary argument that the customer uses to buy. It's the major means of reducing cost. It also helps improving flexibility and responsiveness, and reduces the throughput time, your manufacturing or production time of your goods and services. So the academic view, firms which have invested in quality improvement initiatives aimed at the customer do appear to achieve superior profitability in comparison with those who don't. So what are the benefits of retaining customers? Well, you can boost profit by almost 100% by retaining just 5% more customers. If companies knew how much it really cost them to lose a customer, they would be able to make accurate evaluations of investment designed to retain customers. Unfortunately, today's accounting systems do not capture the value of a loyal customer. The biggest single issue facing us is, although we spend a great deal of time and money successfully winning new customers, we've not spent enough time looking after the customers we already have and are losing too many of them. Now, if we think about our lived experience, for those who've had insurance or mobile phones, you get very tempting offers sent to you to join new companies. But if you're a remaining customer, often you just get put on a higher tariff or charged more. This is really not the way forward to retain customers and really see the benefit of those extra profits. So let's look at some different views of quality. The transcendent approach views quality as synonymous with innate excellence. What does that mean? Well, there's this overarching view that quality is somehow linked to just being the best. The manufacturing-based approach assumes quality is all about making or providing error-free products or services. The user-based approach assumes quality is about providing products or services that are fit for their purpose. The product-based approach is all about precise and measurable sets of characteristics that you adhere to. The value-based approach defines quality in terms of value. Now that one's a little slippery, because what do you mean by value? So here's some definitions of quality from the literature. Quality is an unusually slippery concept, easy to visualize yet exasperatingly difficult to define. Much like value, quality is a word we use quite often, but when you start to try and break it down, it becomes quite difficult. From a traditional engineering perspective, quality is about conformance to specification. Crosby, one of our quality gurus, conformance to customer requirement. Duran, another quality guru, fitness for use by the customer. So you can see they're similar but subtly different customer-related definitions of quality. The ability to produce a product or service to consistently meet or exceed customer expectations. How about providing a product or service which is satisfactory to the customer at a price commensurate with the satisfaction in the most cost-effective and efficient manner? So what Stebbing is saying there is providing a product or service which the customer likes, but at the right price, and you can produce it in a way that's efficient and you can make money. The totality of features and characteristics of the service package that bear upon its ability to satisfy customer need. So that's really about, what is it you're offering, what are the characteristics, the features, and how does that help meet customer need. So here's our first task. Think about a service, and then how would you define the quality of that service? What are the factors from the operations, the delivery, that make that service a quality service? And then what are the service aspects, the use of those resources, people and things that you think make this a quality service? So maybe pause the video for a minute here and really think through those things, see if you can write some ideas down. Garvin proposes that quality has 8 dimensions. The first is performance, the primary operating characteristic which may be measurable, such as the sound and the picture quality of a TV, if it's fast foods, maybe the speed of the service. If performance is a quality measure depends on circumstances or preference, such as a 100-watt light bulb performs differently than a 60-watt. It's not a measure of quality without a specific context, because you may or may not want a light bulb that's that bright, so it depends on the context in which you place it. So let's consider features, a secondary dimension of quality performance, which supplement their functions. So a free drink, extra functions, choice of colour, which give objective measure outputs to meet needs. The reliability, well, we often measure that as the mean time between failures. So what's the average time between each time it stops working? Conformance, which is the degree to which a product or service meets the design standard or expected output, and we've got later lectures on Taguchi loss functions. Durability, that's the measure of product life. Technically, before it deteriorates, it can be also considered from an economic point of view. It's where its replacement is preferable to repair. Things go out of date. It'd be very interesting to consider this in future projects, particularly around sustainability, when we start to really think about what does durability mean. Serviceability refers to the speed of service, the courtesy, the ease of repair. We're often more bothered about how long we have to wait for it to be fixed than if it actually broke. If we think about our cars, and we have to service them every year, and Porsche famously in the 80s was incredibly difficult to service the car. I know if you wanted to fix the rear suspension, you often had to take the exhaust and all sorts of other things off. That was changed later on when they moved towards lean. It can be difficult to measure serviceability if it is your personal interpretation, your expectation of how long something should take. The aesthetics, that's very subjective. How something looks, feels, tastes or smells. If you think about research methodology there, it's a question of ontology, what can be said to exist, and epistemology, what can we know. So you're really into the relativist ontologies there, because you have to ask a whole group of people, because these are socially constructed. What you perceive is influenced so heavily by society, the cultures in which you live, what you think tastes good or smells good, or what you like the sound of. Perceived quality as a consumer, you don't usually have a performance set of data to refer to, but instead you often make an assumption, usually based on brand. So a Honda car is often perceived as very reliable. Armani clothes or Nike footwear, these are perceived as quality things. So a product or service may rank highly in one of these dimensions, maybe at the expense of another. And the interplay between your dimensions of quality is really where you as a manager have to make strategic decisions. So what does quality look like? Well, let's consider our model of operations management. One of the reasons I like operations management so much is we have this nice simple model that explains our world. So we have inputs, then we do operations, which is we transform things. So you have input, transformation, output, and the transformation you want to have some form of verb in there. So the role of operations management is responsible for the management of the transformation of processes, which converts input to output. So we have two different sorts of resources, operand and operant. Operand are resources upon which work is done, they are transformed. And operant are the transforming resources. So materials, information and customers might be the operand. And the transforming resources are the staff, the technology, drills, that sort of thing. The process is the transformation, and the outputs, goods and services. So organisational quality contributes to society, leads to a higher standard of living, we can increase productivity, lowers the cost of goods and services, gives better quality goods and services, competition increases because of quality. Hopefully it leads to concern for the environment as we improve recycling and concern for air and quality of water. We also have less waste, one would hope, and we improve working conditions, better job design and employee participation. So the meaning of quality from the producers, it's usually about quality of conformance to specification and cost, that's about production. From the consumer's perspective, it's about the quality of design, the characteristics, the price, and that's driven by marketing. But all of these things together drive for fitness for consumer use. So let's consider the 5 performance objectives. So if customers are valuing low price, then you're looking at cost. High quality is obviously quality. Fast delivery is speed. Reliable delivery is dependability. Innovation, wide product service range, and the ability to change the timing and quality of delivered products or services. Well, and that's all about the flexibility in the products and services, the flexibility in the mix, and the flexibility in the volume and or delivery. So this is a model I particularly like when we consider how important quality is. Let's look at the order of the performance objectives in the sand cone model. So if we start with quality, and we must start with quality. And we achieve good quality, then we can work and say, right, we can make this thing well, let's make it dependable. And only then can we consider, right, let's try and make this maybe more quickly, let's address the speed. And then when we've got speed under control, then we can start moving towards flexibility. Let's start maybe changing the way we make it, adding extra bits in, flexing our production. And when we can do that, then we can address cost. We can start to look to take cost out of our system. All too often, managers try and start at cost. This model would suggest, no, you start at quality and work out to cost if you want to make that change real, sustainable in the long term, and work through your sand cone, and then you take cost out. Otherwise, if you try and start at cost, you lose all those other things and it's never going to work. The benefits of achieving the performance objectives, well, reduce cost, less time rectifying mistakes, and the external benefit of that is perceived error-free product. So that's all about the performance objective quality. So with regards to speed, internally reduced inventory, less risk of obsolescence, and externally the products are reaching their customer faster and you've got increased availability. Dependability, well, you're saving money, time, and you're providing stability, and the customer perceives your products or services as reliable. If you're able to be flexible, again, you're saving time and cost, and the customer can see you can cope with a changing environment. You can, flex what you produce to meet their needs. And cost is a function of the first four, and that allows you, if you've got good cost control, you can be much more competitive in terms of your pricing. So the effect of the 5 performance objectives: speed, short delivery lead time; quality, consistent to specification; flexibility, frequent new product services, wide range, volume and delivery adjustments; dependability, dependable delivery, and all those things together work towards cost. So let's look at some examples of quality. Let's look at McDonald's, which I'd argue is a very high quality organisation. They work to get order correct, food fresh, cooked, served at the right temperature, not too greasy, and keeping the facilities clean. Speed, order served immediately, or wait X minutes, no more than Y people waiting. They really do keep a close track on that. Dependable, well, is parking available, minimal wait times, facilities as advertised, opens on time, and food ready to be served. Flexible, they do customize food, they accommodate sudden increases in customer numbers and demand for a given item and the cost, internally maintain margins, externally they provide low-cost meals. McDonald's are really tight on all of these things, which is how they manage to produce, wherever you go in the world, a very similar product and service experience. And IKEA, much the same. You can see those examples there for IKEA. Again, a global business, a very high quality business that focuses on our performance objectives. So additional views of quality in services. Technical quality versus functional quality. Technical quality, the core element of the good or service. Functional quality is the customer perception of how the good functions or the service is delivered. Expectations and perceptions, so customers' prior expectations generalized in specific service experiences and their perception of service performance affect their satisfaction with the service. And their satisfaction is the perception of performance, take away the expectation. So quality provides a competitive edge. Service to the customer is becoming more important. Improving quality and service to customers is the key to competitive success, and giving superior service is everybody's responsibility, regardless of the position they are in the company. So here's the new task. What is quality? we'd like you to think and define quality, and how would you present your definition and rationale in an exam. So write a definition of quality, break it right down, maybe using some of the things you've seen, the different definitions if you can remember and quote and reference them. Maybe break it down into the 5 performance objectives and show how it's cut apart, and also maybe give an example. You might want to stop the video here, just spend a few minutes working that out, maybe reviewing if you need to. So some perspectives on the definition of quality. Quality is consistent conformance to customers' expectations. That's the operations view. Quality is the degree of fit between expectations and perceptions. That's the customer view. So let's think more about our quality concept and consider these 2 items, the Big Mac meal and the Rolex watch. What is the producer or provider's approach to quality in these 2 examples? And I'd like you to list the characteristics or dimensions of quality the items possess, represent or display. So consider these 2 maybe on a page, draw a line down the middle, put the Big Mac meal on one side, the Rolex watch on the other, and consider the quality of each. Maybe pause the video here and consider those 2. So let's think about the Rolex. Did anyone consider the experience of buying the watch or receiving the watch? Does buying the watch or owning the watch have the most impact? I would argue that's quite contextual. Maybe the Rolex is given as a gift, maybe on a particular birthday or to mark some particular occasion. Maybe it was bought, somebody's maybe saved up for a long time to buy a watch. It's marking an occasion. So the value of it, the quality perception of it is high due to its context. A Rolex is a mechanical watch. Normally they do some digital, but mostly it's a mechanical watch, and therefore it's not as accurate as a digital watch, which may be considerably cheaper. But actually what you're buying in the quality is this maybe transcendent view of quality that goes back to its history. Rolex were producing very high quality, very accurate mechanical watches, and that quality was then seen as luxurious, so you're buying into history and that perceived quality. Let's think about the Big Mac. Did you consider the service experience of the Big Mac? Yes, the food is standard, and conformance to characteristics is very important when we consider the Big Mac. It is hopefully the same wherever you are in the world, as should be the service. So does the experience of servicing counter outweigh the experience of eating the food? I would argue with McDonald's, it's not so much about the show of the service delivery, though it's very standard around the world. You expect it to be fast. You expect it in the little box, it's given to you, you go eat. It's all about the speed and the convenience of that, and the standard form of both the product and the service, the way it's delivered and the way it tastes, right the way across the world. And you can imagine delivering that everywhere in the world is indeed a significant challenge for managers. So what could quality mean in terms of McDonald's? You might have thought about burgers are at the right temperature, the salad is fresh, the toilets are clean, the seats and floor are clean, your order is correct, the fries are not greasy. So all sorts of elements wrapped into that. Let's go back to IKEA, that components fit together as specified, that customer contact staff are helpful, they give appropriate advice, help locate products, provide physical assistance, that delivery items are delivered undamaged. These are all elements that you've got to get right to deliver the quality of experience. So you should now be able to understand various views of quality, general definitions of quality for products and services, and the dimensions that make up quality, and hopefully start to apply those to some examples. So that ends this video on quality. Please do look at the other videos on quality in this series.